Hello, this is Wes Bridle, and this is another Kingdom Calling Economic Update video. We're in a series, I think it's going to be 11 videos, but for me this is a new day. My battery was running low, so I've only got, I think, 7 left. We're going to talk more about the gold and silver market today. This morning it is the 14th, I believe, and gold and silver are getting rocked. I had a client ask me why, and this is just really an incredible opportunity to buy. With the euro crisis cracking up, the euro cracking up, the powers that be do not want the market to see gold and silver as a safe haven. They don't want that price going nuts, because then it would really just create more fear about the euro itself and other currencies. People would have an obvious safe haven, so they're deliberately pushing it down. What's scary and kind of sad from a Westerner's point of view, if you see yourself as a Westerner or an American or a Brit, whatever, you see the wealth of the world transferring from the West to the East, because it is confusing a lot of people, a lot of traders in the West. If you look at their confidence in the market, most people are very bearish on the metals, even though the time is perfect for them, because they're getting very confused. Those in China and a lot of Asia are not at all confused, and they are buying with both fists as the price goes lower. So we're giving them a gift. The politicians and the bankers, central bankers, and the bullion bankers of the West are manipulating the prices down in order to support their fiat currencies. And their reason for doing that is that the fiat currencies don't blow up. And so they see it as sort of they're saving the West. The reality is it's a short-term effect, and it's not going to last very long. But what is a long-term effect is the real wealth of the West, the gold particularly, is transferring from the West to the East. We've seen this happen in past, and that's really how America became so strong. Is it gathered the gold of the world, where America had a just unbelievably strong amount of gold. And then over the past many decades, America transferred a lot of that to Europe, and so it helped Europe rebuild from the Second World War, and Europe became a strong financial power because we transferred a lot of the US gold to Europe. That's traditionally, you see where the wealth of the world goes by who has the gold. Well, now the central bankers of America and of the Western Europe are conscientiously, all they mean to do is to suppress the price of gold so that the market doesn't see that as the ultimate currency. But what's happening in reality behind the scenes is that they're giving our gold to, I say our as Westerner, they're giving the West gold to the East. And so this doesn't bother me as a spiritual person that kind of understands what the Lord is doing. The East is going to rise up. The East is going to come to Christ as never before. It's going to be kind of an amazing time there, and the transfer of wealth is kind of a part of that. So that doesn't particularly bother me. It's just kind of exciting to see what the Lord is doing. But from a fleshly sense and a worldly sense, the politicians and the bankers, we put the politicians up and they put the bankers in charge. They're consciously transferring our money over there. So that's what's going on. And actually, that was my first point as I get to the list. They've been taking huge price orders, the Chinese have, and they're actually specifically doing it around the London price fix, because they know there's an 80% chance that the manipulators are going to hit the price at that time. If you look at like a price map over the last 10 years and you average the price for every minute of the day, so it makes a map that looks like it's one day, but it's actually the average of every day. You will see it. Of course, the price is in general rising because the price has been rising over the last 10 years. But there's a couple times where there's a very sharp fall in the average price over the last 10 years, and those are the AM and PM London gold fixes. There's a couple other times where they like to hit it, but there's a dramatic, obvious proof. A normal average of 10 years worth of days should be basically a straight line up. That would be a normal market. But there's these actually dramatic points where there's a fall off at that time of day, every day, on average, across the 10-year period. And so the Chinese aren't stupid, and that's when they choose to buy. They say, if you're going to give us a good price at that time, we'll take it. Gold stocks are dirt cheap. I haven't even actually looked at those today, but I'm sure they're getting hammered as well. That doesn't mean they can't go much lower, but just the valuation of how much money they're making. Typically gold stocks in the past, historically, you have to pay a really high valuation on the profits because you're valuing the gold in the ground. Well, today, the price of the metals is so high compared to the price of the stock that they're actually a good value stock. So that's kind of unbelievable. They might go incredibly low if the overall market crashes, which I believe the overall market will crash. I don't know whether gold stocks will finally decouple from that or not. I can see that going either way, one way or the other, whether it's short term up or a little bit longer term, they're going to go a lot higher. Gold demand jumped 6% in the third quarter. Central bank buying jumped 6 times, so up to 148 tons. So for decades, central banks were sellers of gold. Now they're buyers of gold. They have more money than anyone, and all of a sudden they're massive buyers. So the biggest seller became the biggest buyer. The only big sellers now left, obviously the gold miners are big sellers on the market, and then you have the bullion bank manipulators that are out there. Other than that, everyone else is buying. More in Europe, say countries can sell gold or use it as collateral. There's more people in Europe that are bringing up the fact that, hey, Western Europe has a lot of gold. Maybe we should, different people say different things. Sell the gold to pay off some of this debt, or use it as collateral to get really cheap loans. Of course, the people in charge aren't really interested in this, because even though they publicly say that gold's not worth anything and their fiat money's where it's at, they actually know the truth, and they're not willing for that to be touched, which it would be stupid for them to allow that to be touched, because the US, for instance, can totally blow up the dollar. They can always come out with a new currency and back it with the gold that's in the bank if it truly is still there. The US supposedly has 8,000 plus tons of gold in the vault, and if it truly is still there, then it can be used to start a new money, and even though the old money goes away. Same with a lot of the powers. Germany, Italy have a lot of gold. I think France still has a lot of gold. UK got rid of most of theirs. So that's always the fallback plan. They don't want to admit it, but it's always there. So they're not really going to do it. But it's interesting to see gold coming up more in the mainstream financial news. Asian gold buying. So again, talking about Asia. In 1970, Asia bought 35% of the world's gold. In 2010, they bought 58%. So they used to be poor, rice farmers. They weren't really in the big wealthy world economy. Now they very much so are. So it's funny to see gold bears talk about what's going on, and they have a very US-centric perspective. Without reason, most of the buying going on right now is actually coming out of Asia, because they understand what's happening. They never forgot that gold is money. The West kind of has for now. So West is only buying 27% of world gold in 2010. Silver sentiment is at an extreme low, and on average, when we see these lows in sentiment, 6 months later, prices are 33% higher, and a year later, prices are 54% higher. So that gives you an idea. When sentiment is this bad in silver, historically, I think it's only happened 4 times over the last, I don't remember what the stat I read was, 5 years, 10 years. And over that period of time, those 4 times, the average rise was what I just told you, pretty strong over the next 6 months and a year. There's so much more gold, and it's valued so much higher than silver is. So at present, a $10 move, and this stat changes every day, but when I read it, it was pretty amazing. A $10 move in the gold price right now represents the entire stock of silver in the world. So when the price of gold goes up or down $10, the value of all the gold in the world has just increased or decreased by the entire amount of silver in the world. That reflects the very small amount of silver that exists and the very small price of silver, it shows you something's kind of out of whack there. I think I'm going to stop this one because I still have quite a bit more to go in gold and silver, and I've been jabbering for a while. But if you haven't seen the Coming Storm video, you should do it. It's for free, right? There's a link right near this video, and really that gives you the big picture of the things I'm talking about. Thank you for watching. God bless you.